It's a 200 mile per hour podcast live from Lucha Media Studios. We're sitting today with our good friend Rene, friend of Lucha Media Studios, virtual production supervisor here in Hollywood, works on big films, television shows with these big networks. And he's going to talk to us about the current technology we're using in virtual production, how Latinos in the media business are killing it, and why they hired him, flew him out to Mexico City to go do a shoot about Mexico City in an iconic city, but it was all shot in virtual production.
Yep.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't.
I don't get it. But hey, we're here for it. We're going to talk about that right now in the 200 Mile Per Hour podcast live from Lucha Media Studios. Let go.
Keeping it 200.
200 mph.
Oh, no, I wish I never said that. There's an old saying, too, that when you're born here, but your roots are over there, it's like, ni de aquí, ni de allá. Yeah. But for us, it's like, let's flip it. You know, there's 200% here, let's own it. I'm 100% Latino. I'm 100% American.
200 mph.
¿Qué pasó, bro?
¿Qué pasó, bro?
Hey, we got Rene in the building.
Hello, hello.
Micrófono, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You
Check,
got mic check, mic check.
1, 2,
Are
1,
we
2.
good? Are we
we're good.
messing up? Ya empezamos mal?
Ya empezamos mal.
Are we going? Oh, this thing's not even moving. I start. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, he had a lapel on.
I know.
La Chona.
Hey, La Chona. What's up with La Chona?
Shit. Metallica in Mexico City played La Chona this past week.
They did. That's right. I
Yeah.
saw that on the Instagrams.
On the Instagrams where we get all our relevant news.
You know where I saw it, though? I saw that happening because our primo went to that.
So what were you saying? ¿Qué pues? What? Audi Mil was there?
Yeah, Audi Mead was at the Metallica concert
Nuestro primo. ¿Qué pasó,
in
primo?
la Ciudad de México.
Pinche primo. ¿Fuiste o qué pues?
Yeah, no. No, he's a rocker foo.
I saw him post. Yeah.
Yeah, and he posted La Chona, and I was like, no fucking way.
That's dope.
I saw it.
so dope.
Props to Metallica for doing that. Shout out for representing. I wonder if they knew the song or they had like, I know they had to learn it to play it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Robert Trujillo, right? He's a bass, so he's playing with the bass.
First of all, our guest today, I just learned that he's not a rocker foo.
No.
He is
Not a
not a
rocker
rocker
foo.
foo.
Not like that.
We got to talk about our friend here, Rene Hernandez-Ayerdis.
Ayerdis.
Ayerdis.
Yeah.
I would say
Ayer,
it
como de
wrong.
ayer.
Como de ayer, Ayerdis.
Yeah.
Rene Hernandez-Ayerdis. So Rene is a special guest today.
Yeah.
I'm very proud that we can have him on here
Good.
today.
Thank you. Thank you.
know?
Thank you.
I think our goal here for the podcast for 200 miles per hour is to bring our friends on, bring our industry friends on, people we've worked with, people that we admire, and people that we're building with, and have a conversation. Just kind of, shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Talk about, whatever's going on this week, whatever's going on with you.
Yeah.
But, give your story and share it with our friends and our community because that's what it's about. It's about getting our resources and sharing them. And Rene, we've been privileged to work with and grow together this year, particularly. So we're going to talk about what you do. Rene is a virtual production supervisor. You probably don't know what that means.
A lot of big words.
It's a lot of big words. In the media production business are one of the divisions that we do here at Lucha Media. And to sum it up, Rene is on the pioneering side and the forefront of this new wave of film production and media production, which is using volume and green screen and now AI. And really to give you an example to sum it up and something everybody can relate to is today, modern day technology, Jon Favreau used volume to, and when we say volume, we mean the LED walls, right?
Yeah.
In film production. And he basically revolutionized the way you're able to shoot in real time, shoot on a lower budget. And he brought to life the new Star Wars,
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, using volume and LED production. So Rene is in that field. He's a virtual production manager, supervisor, guru, whiz, and we're going to tell you how he got into that and how he's representing for Latinos in that space. So shout out to Rene. for joining us today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
Are you guys? I mean, I don't know. I'm excited, but my little brothers over there are just like, I don't know what they're doing.
I'm here. You
Ya les
just can't
pegó
hear
el
me.
whiskey? Okay, what? You guys need to stop drinking. You guys are drinking on the pod, and that's the problem.
Drinking on the job too much. Salud.
You guys no sé what, se están dando besos or qué? You're lost, bro. What's happening over there?
So
you know?
I just found out that Jon Favreau invented virtual production.
Yeah, he essentially.
No way.
No, he didn't like invent it. Like it was
That's
there.
a joke. It's a joke.
I
'cause
feel
we're
like
making
just
it.
like everyone else during that time period, I think it was like 2019, like right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
That's when production was happening for Mando. It really went popular, I think, in 2020. I think that's when Mando came out. And that's where, funny enough, I think like last week I was at I was like at a networking event, and then someone said the complete opposite of what you were saying, how Jon Favreau was like the one who kickstarted it, set up the expectations and stuff, and then he brought a different perspective, which was like he put like unrealistic like expectations of what virtual production is, right? To where 2020, 2021 during these like COVID times, Mando came out. Mando was using a volume probably the size of this studio, right? And probably the size of this entire warehouse that we're in, right?
Wow.
Like humongous, double 2.5 floor high, 360 with the ceiling and everything except the floor.
Very rich production studio.
Yes, Disney level
Basically, what
stuff.
Rene is saying is fuck Lucha Media and this little studio we got here. 3,000 square feet is not enough. I get it.
And then during those years, everyone was like, all right, bigger is better. And everyone just started to buying all these panels, buying all these spaces and, building up that big. And then now exiting out of COVID, there's very few stages that are like that massive still. There's maybe like 4 or 5 in LA, and everywhere else is like maybe about like 30 to 20 feet is like the average. Some are a little bit bigger because, they have the space for it. But other than that, it went from like really, really big to now really, really small. And people are still, we're on the deflate stage is what I call it. And
Yeah.
I feel like people are trying to also figure out what to do with it because the amount
Exactly.
of people it takes to run, it's still no different from any production. You still need the hands and the knowledge to run this kind of stuff. So even if you're a studio who has the money to afford the technology, you need to get people to run it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, this is getting really nerdy really fast.
Extremely nerdy.
I think we're losing
Extremely
homies
fast.
here, so let's slow down a little
Yes.
bit. No, I think there's a lot to kind of dive into in this world and in the media world and volume LED production world. So I'm glad that you're here so we can touch on that because I definitely think that we have a lot of questions running a virtual production studio that we're trying to get off the ground.
Yeah.
It's something new every day. I'm not gonna say the problem, but a good and bad challenge is that it's very technology driven and technology changes every day, every
So
month.
fast.
So
Yeah.
just when we think we're caught up and have the latest version of something, boom, we're hit with something else. And it's like, okay, so how much is this?
How much is that? How much is this?
And now we're here, right? So we definitely want to talk a little bit about that. But Rene, being Latino, what's your background? What's going on here? How did you get to this chair? What's going on?
If we're going to go all the way back, my parents immigrated when they were like 19, 20, the average age.
From where?
Central America. My mom was from Nicaragua and my dad's
Okay.
from El Salvador.
Nice.
They immigrated over. A couple years later, they met and then they had me. And I was just, raised in Glendale, California.
Shout out to Glendale.
And then right out of high school, I feel like it's very common with most Latinos where it's like, we don't know what we want to do.
Right,
Being, first generation and all, it's where you're like, do I follow what my parents are doing, like hardworking, or do I work smart and more efficiently? And then at that point, it's like, do I lose them? Do they trust me and all this stuff? And my mom,
It's new territory all around.
extremely new for most parents. And that's where my mom was just like, I don't want you to go to community college. It's going to be like high school all over again for you. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. She was like, hey, you love playing video games your entire life. Why don't you go make them? And I was like, yeah, she has a point.
Yeah.
And so she sent me to some school
And
in
then
North Hollywood.
that was like after she threw the chancla at you, like, deja de jugar. He's been on the PlayStation for
Dude,
like
she
5
broke
hours.
my Game Boy. She'll always deny it, but she broke my Game Boy
she
growing
broke
up.
your Game
She like just threw it on the ground.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah, dude.
Generational trauma.
Exactly. I still carry
Generational
it.
trauma. Dang. Señora, ¿qué te pasó?
Señora.
Love that. So your mom pushed you into the video game kind of education. Side of things.
Yeah. And then
How does that even work? How do you go to school to like do video games?
It started off with just starting off with Googling it, like video game schools and stuff like that. And we just happened to find one that was doing, do you remember like Full Sail and Corday Blue?
Oh, yeah.
Like those type of schools. And they just like
Cordon
advertise
Bleu.
it so much on TV.
Yeah.
It was like one of those type of schools. It was AI.
So it's like you go to school for cordon bleu to make pastries, or you go to gaming school.
Yeah, it was the Art Institute. And there was like 50.
Oh, the Art Institute.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
There was like 50 of them
Damn, are they
throughout
still
the
around?
nation. No, dude, they all went down.
No way.
Fast forward 3 years. Fast forward just to get to that point. Fast forward 3 years. I was on track to graduate in 2019 of June, and the school went down due to bankruptcy. That entire 3 months of that year leading up to March,
Yeah.
there was some schools that closed up in like northern, like California, some in like Inland Empire closed, OC closed, and they were just sending students over to like the NoHo one.
Wait, what year was this? This was during
2019.
Oh, before. Okay, before the shutdown, before COVID. So
Sorry. So like 2018. Sorry. I think that summer there was a school over in Florida that had like outrageous claims that like, hey, 100% transfer rate out of school into the workforce.
wow.
And I guess they bragged it too much. Some students didn't get into the workforce, and they sued and they won because it was like false advertisement is what I heard.
So it wasn't like a COVID thing that the school started. to
Correct.
shut
No,
down.
it was
Wow.
a year before COVID.
And like you're enrolled, you're doing the program, and you're hearing all this.
Yeah, and it
you're
was like
okay.
one domino. Like they closed that school because they couldn't sustain
Damn.
it, and then they closed another school to like recoup like funds, and then one school after another after another
the
after
domino
another.
effect started happening.
And then entering 2019, there was like from 50 schools at its prime, it was like down in like 25.
Wow.
And then March 8th, 2019, they did like a mass email and they closed from 25. They closed the entire West Coast and a couple of other campuses throughout the nation. And then it went down to 10.
Wow.
And then during COVID, there was like 8. And then I think now there's like maybe 2 or they're all gone. I forget.
And
But
how far along in the process were you of finishing your school?
I was 3 months away from graduating.
3 months away from graduating,
Yeah.
and the school started shutting down.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then I got the notice on a Wednesday evening. Every single student of that campus showed up on Thursday trying to like plead with the dean or like give me my transcripts. I need documents to help transfer out and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And this school is known for having like a really high percentage of students that are being like, what do they call it? International students.
Okay.
So those kids are freaking out because they're like, what the heck is going to happen with my international status here and et cetera. And then
the
Friday,
visas, yeah, because they got a visa. Yeah.
correct. And then Friday, they spent the rest of the day printing out transcripts and documents for transferring to schools and stuff. And then after that, the doors were like chained up, locked up, and like you couldn't even go in. They had to.
That's scary.
It was like
Terrifying.
It was like that movie with what's his name, Justin Long, Accepted.
Ask me about my winner.
Yeah, dude.
That's right.
And like they had to escort the dean out of campus because they already fired him like I think the day prior. And then he still showed up the next day and his login was still working. So he just kept doing it behind I guess like his boss's backs on like printing out papers. And then like they
And
said
he was doing that to help the
to
students.
help the students. Yeah. Like
Okay, got it,
he knew that the situation was like really bad and stuff. And he was doing his best to try to get them out and like get them papers. That was like happening on the 4th floor. I think on the 2nd floor, the fashion students were like, fuck this. And they started undrilling a desk off from the ground because these desks had sewing machines. And the sewing machine goes for like 10 grand,
Oh,
15
wow.
grand.
Yeah.
And someone had I was like leaving and I saw a U-Haul in the parking lot, U-Haul filled with like 10 already. And like they have a system. They have like 2 kids with like drills. They have like the girls and the guys dragging out.
Allegedly.
No, it happened. Someone called the cops.
Wow.
They all got arrested for it. It happened.
Dang,
It's out there.
They got pretty rowdy. I thought you were going to say like the fashion students started making glitter tie-dye shirts.
It's glitter rock and it's glam and it's fabulous.
Oh,
That school sucks.
that'd be nice, dude.
Something,
That'd be
but
better.
Making goodbye shirts, bro.
these guys went went rogue and started stealing the sewing machines.
And then the culinary kids were like, we already bought our own stuff. They're like, we don't need to buy anything here. So
They ran out with their pants clapping.
but after that,
This is a shitty situation, and we're just
shitty situation.
shitty
Yes.
you know, nothing serious here. We're just bringing some light to the
But
scenario.
during that time period, I was like going to school Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. just doing only Unreal. Unreal Engine is the software that I use. I learned like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, Adobe softwares, 3D softwares like AutoCAD, Maya Max, and then I just fell in love with Unreal. I remember the moment I fell in love was when I did like a VR class, and it was like make your point A to point B experience. So it's like just streamlined, no side quests or nothing, just like essentially like a really long fancy hallway is how they termed it. And I fell in love. Like I would spend like 3 days working on something. I would show up to the next class. We put on the VR headset and like I see my world to life. And then because I was like in the system for so long, and when I mean like in the system, like on the computer nonstop, like in real life, I couldn't see the world like normal. Like I saw it as if it was my editor.
Dang.
So I would see like point lights. I see,
Tapped into the matrix.
dude, it was like like I really thought, I was like, I could really see the simulation argument now. Like I really could see it.
So you would go to sleep with these goggles on, like, this kind of like
Not that extreme, but it was really bad. I remember one day I caught myself and I was just like, damn, I'm too into this.
Yeah.
But
That's
after
good,
that,
though.
yeah,
you
yeah,
need
very
that fire, that hunger, you know?
good. Yeah.
Because some people don't get that hunger and that moment of realization that this is the path they want to take.
Yeah.
Until it's too late. You
yeah.
know? So that's cool.
Yeah, that's where I as much as my mom, and I give her a bunch of shit for everything, like she's the one who I give the most props to, her and my dad actually. My dad wanted to do like computer stuff. Like he went to class at community college for like computer software and computer hardware and stuff, but just circumstances he couldn't pursue it. You know, he had to support his family. He, of
course.
you know, he had to do the just whatever job he could get.
Yeah,
you know,
to do it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, well, shout out to your parents.
Yeah, shout out to
Señor
them.
y Señora Hernandez-Ayerdis.
yes.
Yeah.
And so right after that, I got into Fox. That was my first gig out of school. Fox TV, like
Casual.
casual.
Very light. No internship, just straight to I worked at Fox.
Worked at a studio that was like doing a project with Fox. We were doing a
So let's get to that because I think we're moving pretty quickly and
Okay.
it's like very nerdy and some of the homies need to
Yeah.
catch up. So virtual production where we're at now,
Yeah.
what you're talking about, your pathway to get there was a trade tech school,
Yeah.
which was
Art Institute.
Art Institute at the time. I remember so vaguely, so much because they also had the Music Institute.
Yep, they had
Yeah,
the music.
right.
They had.
I remember I
culinary.
toured that place.
Yeah,
yeah. It was.
There's
it
one
was
in Santa Monica and there's one in
So
NoHo.
that one still exists.
No, they're all gone.
Oh, they're all
all
gone.
gone.
Oh shit.
all gone.
Wow.
If you actually, what was it? The Hulu show, The Rookie, has
No.
they shot so
Haven't
much
seen
in
it.
that area, in like that.
Hollywood Vine area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Art Institute of Technology. You went that pathway to originally learn video gaming.
Yeah.
Develop video gaming. From that, because in the video gaming world is Unreal Engine.
Correct.
And Unreal Engine is the basis of virtual production now.
Correct.
So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise that you went into the video gaming technology, education route.
Yeah.
And then you learned Unreal Engine, which is where we are today.
Correct.
And which is how we met
Yep.
because those are the productions that we're doing. So now we're caught up, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. So now your first gig, wait, did you didn't end up graduating? You were 3 months away.
I dropped out, or I was dropped. I don't know. Like, I dropped out. Yeah, so I was dropped. I was, I got broken up with, and went continue with the studio that I was at. And our first gig together was working with Fox. We were doing, I guess, what you would call.
How did you explain that in the interview process?
So I went to.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you're applying for a job, and it's like, do you have a certification or a degree? And you're like, oh, it's complicated.
Complicated.
That is complicated.
Status is complicated.
So you're sitting in the interview and you're explaining. What did you
Originally,
say?
I went for a Photoshop internship. This first job
Internship, okay.
was a Photoshop internship.
Yeah.
And as I was touring their studio, they had like a person who's working in Unreal. And out of curiosity, I was like, hey, why are you doing it this way? And they explained themselves. And I was like, oh, did you try to do it this way? And they're like, no, I didn't. And like we sat maybe like 5-10 minutes of us like doing it the way that I suggested, and it worked better or whatever. It just worked. And I guess that I impressed them, because by the end of this tour, they were like, instead of doing Photoshop, do you want to just do the Unreal stuff? Because the person who's downstairs, it's not there every day. Like, you seem to know more. You're going to school for it. Do you just want to do that stuff? So my Photoshop internship just turned into like an Unreal job. Like I just skipped internship. I just went straight for a job.
That's crazy.
And they treated it as like an internship. They allowed me to work it as I was going to school. They allowed me to like just trial and error throughout the whole entire process, to where they were pitching this technology to Fox Television. And that's when Fox was like, yeah, let's do it. And that's when I was able to film this show. I think the first whole season over in the CBS lot right by the Grove.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were using tracking, 3D tracking. They were using...
what system were they using?
I think it was Stipe. Red Eye Stipe. Yeah. And then they were also using Zero Density, which is like a real-time compositing software that is just essentially overlaying just imagery as they were recording. So they didn't need to go into any post work. It was just as they filmed it, we put in our elements right on top of it as they were filming it. And let's say there's something here, and it was just happening here. It looked like it was like augmented reality for some of the stuff. And that was the first show. Yeah. I remember that I called all my friends. I was like, hey guys, my first show is on TV. It's on Wednesday night at 7. And then
what TV show was it?
It was First Responders Live.
First Responders.
So it was covering throughout the United States. It was covering different incidents from the behind the scenes of like paramedics and the fire department and the police department.
First Responders Live?
Yes.
But it wasn't a virtual production.
Correct.
Interesting.
What are you selling us here?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it was really cool. And then from there, right after that, someone on LinkedIn saw my profile, and they didn't reach out. They didn't do nothing. They just saw that they saw my account. Yeah. And I clicked on it.
You were paying for the professional version of LinkedIn.
No, it was a free one. I haven't started paying for the paid one until this year.
Because when you do the professional version, you can see who looks at your page.
I guess this person was like public. She was the head of HR for this company.
Okay.
The third floor. They're known for like previs for movies and the post work. And I was like, oh, who's this? I clicked on the account. I see HR for the third floor, and I see hiring Unreal artists and developers. I was just like, okay, let me just, send a little DM. And I was like, hey, saw that you saw my account. I see that you're hiring as well. I would love to see if we can just talk about it. And in like 3 to 4 days, I went through the whole interview process unknowingly. And on Friday, they were like, hey, if you want the job, it starts on Monday.
Whoa.
And this studio is a big studio, like really well known in the movie industry. And I was just like, I can't miss this up. So I literally put in like a 1 day notice. I feel kind of bad.
You dropped Fox.
I dropped the studio that I was working for Fox. Yeah, we already finished the project. We were already done with the Fox project. We were like in this down period. There was nothing really happening. Yeah. And I was like, hey, I got an offer. I start on Monday. Goodbye. So I just left. And then at this studio, we did theme parks. I was doing we were using Unreal as like just rendering animations on how essentially like storyboards, like 3D storyboards of how theme parks are, right? Okay. And we were working with Universal Studios. And next year at the Epic Universe, if you go to the dark Hollywood area, I think, or the Hollywood area, right?
Okay.
They have Dracula.
Oh yeah, like the old
Frankenstein.
Old Hollywood.
Yeah.
Classic monsters.
Correct. The classic monsters. Yeah. And they're, Universal's opening like I think 6 different or 5 different parks next year. And one of those parks is, I think they took my ride and they still have that ride. And then they got concepts off of that ride and made 2 more rides in a restaurant off of it.
Dang.
So I'm excited to go next year to go check out my work in person.
I'm excited to go with you. Yeah. I feel like this is the invite.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you, Universal, for putting us on.
I just went to Horror Nights. It was super fun.
Oh, yeah, dude. Horror Nights is amazing.
You went to Horror Nights and it was super fun?
Yeah.
It's going to be super scary. No?
Well, I mean, I have fun being scared,
Dude, did you go to the Waterworld event?
I didn't. Did you work on that?
It is the best. If you had to go to Horror Nights this year.
It's the Purge, right?
Yes, it's the Purge. It's like the first It's like taking place as if the purge is just happening.
Wait. So the Waterworld show at night turns into the Purge show.
Correct.
Wow.
And it's
I love that.
without giving away too much. It's I think the president of the United States or whatever, or the person who like
in the show.
the show, whoever
Plays that character.
pitched the purge and got approved for it.
Okay.
This person bought an island, which is Waterworld Island. And it's supposed to be some high security island. And there's a bunch of camera. I don't know how he has cameras, but he's able to see the purge happen throughout the country. And the purge people, the ones with like the X with the smiley face. Those guys catch whiff of this person and they go out and they try to kill him. And you're just watching the whole thing happen of they're trying to kill him.
At his location, which is the Waterworld.
Correct.
Island.
And unlike Waterworld, where Waterworld is, family friendly, they give some innuendos of like cuss words and things like that. This one is like full on
rated R.
PG-13. Rated R. There's gore, there's blood.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like
Dang.
a
But
did
lot
you
more
work on it?
explosives. Yeah, and it's the purge theme.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So
He's
it's
asking,
really,
did you work on it?
No. Sorry, no. I wish.
Brian over here.
But no, that was like my favorite part.
So you
of
didn't check
Hornets.
that out? Seems to be like the best event there. You didn't check it out, producer Brian?
I did not.
What did you go do?
We got a little too drunk, I would say.
Okay.
And it was a lot of walking.
But I feel like I watched it right now.
Exactly.
You kinda just
you
ruined
gave
it for
all the way.
Well, no, I'm gonna make it a point to go because I'm going this Thursday. Tomorrow, I'm going tomorrow. But I think where you messed up is you didn't buy the front of the line pass. You should have got the front of the
Dude,
line
it's
pass.
expensive though. It's like 300 or something.
Yeah, but it's
like that.
worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it.
Yeah,
like,
I
dude,
would,
you don't- you know,
100%
you
I
worth
would
it.
say it's
everything.
worth it because I only got to go through like 4 things, and there's probably like at least 12 to 16 things to see. And
Yeah.
I feel like I need to go back already.
Dude,
so it's
yeah.
definitely
Like
worth
I
it.
was lucky that I went during employee night. My brother works at Universal
nice.
Studios
Oh,
Transformer Ride.
Oh, nice.
And they opened it up for the employees, so none of
Wait,
the
he's one of the Transformers attendees?
yeah, the
When you
little
get
with the army
they're rushing,
uniform.
"Get in,
Yeah, exactly. Go. Yeah.
that's awesome.
He brought me this year, and
cool.
we went, and I want to say my top 3 things was definitely the Purge show. They have a Quiet Place one.
Okay.
I like that one just because I'm a fan of those movies.
Yeah. I like the first one. I don't know about the rest of them though. They got kind of weird.
Yeah,
But either way.
And then what was I did not like The Weeknd. The Weeknd one was good.
Oh yeah, you said you didn't like the weekend.
No, I
either.
liked it actually.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
I
what was
actually
it?
liked
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Classic.
Yeah,
I love that.
It smelled.
Smells.
Oh, you know what?
Well, maybe it's supposed to smell like human
a few
flesh.
years
you
ago
know?
when they first brought it out, I went, and that was my takeaway too. Like when I went in, I was like, "This is disgusting." Like it really makes you like feel gross in there.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
that's the point. It's
it smells
human
like
chainsaw
heavy-
massacre. I mean,
Heavy
Yeah.
plastic.
Ugh.
Yeah, like just sweat too.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't know they did that, but I think I got lucky because I haven't gone to Horror Nights. I went to Not Scary Farm.
How's that?
The most I waited was like 15 minutes, but it was pretty
good?
cool. It was pretty
well,
good. Yeah,
I mean, it was just you and a bunch of Edgars.
yeah. Me and all the Edgar.
Not Edgar Farm.
You know how
Not
many
Edgar
of my
Farm?
Edgar friends I saw there? Almost everyone.
I see.
Anyways, back to Rene.
Yeah.
We got distracted here.
So after Universal, try to go back to school.
Yeah.
Long story with that
But
one.
how do you try to go back to school? What's your
I transferred
transcripts?
and I
You were
tried.
able to get your transcripts.
Yes. So I got my transcripts and I had all the credits that were still good. And I tried to
Can
transfer.
I
to
borrow those? Because how are they going to verify that I went to the school or not?
So you have like 3
Just put
years,
my
I think.
stamp on
I
it.
think 3 to 4 years, like school credits. Like let's say you go take a
Yeah.
community college class of math.
Yeah.
I think for like 3 to 4 years, you're good. Like if you stop and then want to continue
Wanna go,
school,
yeah.
I think
So
you
how
have,
long has it been?
5 years.
Oh, damn.
So I'm done.
Dang.
Sorry,
Forget
but
it. Forget it.
Forget it.
and what I mean by that, I try to go to school is that I literally tried. I tried to finish, try to get the degree. I tried to work it out with the dean, the chair, every single person there. And long story short, it felt like they were just stringing me along because they
Yeah.
wanted me to learn their school methods when I was the one teaching the teachers how to teach certain topics and stuff.
And you had working experience at
And
this
yes.
point. So it's like...
And working a
that's-
part-time job, too.
That's the worst too though. Like once you have like experience that's I guess
in your field.
in your field and
Yeah.
is like credible, then these people that are teaching, I feel like they get kind of jealous. You know, it's like, because I've always said this, and not to hate on educators because they're very important, but you know, sometimes in these very specific kind of niche businesses,
Yeah.
you know, like you're killing it, right? You have a path, and they're almost jealous that they didn't get there. right? And it's like
Yeah.
they couldn't do it, so they teach, right?
Yep.
And it's like kind of frustrating. I've seen it happen.
I wouldn't
in
even
some
say
things
just
I'm
they
related
couldn't
to,
do
but-
it, but it's also like such a new technology, and it's so new, and things change with technology like I said,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
That the best way to learn for a lot of these things, and I'm not discouraging anyone from going to school. Like school's important, but at the same time, getting hands-on with this type of stuff, like every part of production is so hands-on that you're better off. I wouldn't want to say better off, but like if you're going to school, take internships, take side jobs, doing little things in a production, because you're gonna learn way more than you could ever.
Oh, yeah.
do behind.
Yeah, and who
Even-
cares what it is? It's like you're a perfect example. You went in for a Photoshop interview that led to the Unreal Engine job.
Yeah.
And it's because you put yourself out there and said, like, you know what, I'm gonna figure out a way just to get in the door. And
Yeah.
from here, it's
Now I'm
gonna
here.
take me somewhere. you
Yeah.
know?
And that was, I did all of this. I started my first job when I was like 21 and I'm 26 now. So it's just been 5 years of just like constant go,
Crazy.
go, 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 go. And
Yeah. That's impressive.
you know, the school didn't work out. I realized during COVID, like it went to Zoom classes and I was trying to like care when I'm
Yeah.
sitting on that screen. It just didn't work out. I didn't feel attached to it. So I ended up just like, what is it called? Leave of absence for like 3 semesters, which is like roughly a year and a half. And then after that, I realized I was like, I'm not going back. Like I'm already so deep in my industry at that point. And I was just like, I'm just dropping out. So I withdrew. But while that was happening, I was doing a part-time job with Cantina Creative. They're known for all the holograms that you see for Iron Man movies, the Marvel movies.
I thought you were gonna say Tupac. I was like, damn, dope.
Yeah. You did the two.
Can we get a Juanga one right here?
Yeah. They
Chente.
were working on Ryan Reynolds' Fall Guy, and
Yeah.
they were trying to see how they can do compositing from their compositing software with Unreal, and just trying to see what holds better. So that's where they got
Crazy.
me to do that stuff, and then it went over to doing like an AR HUD for like pilots.
Going, it was a dream for you. You're like, I can't wait to put this VR headset back on
it was
again.
really cool. We were getting like it was theoretically it was being connected to like a plane's black box, so it was getting all the telemetry data. So in real time, it was like literally just like bringing an Iron Man HUD to life. It was the coolest part. And then after that, I was working on still with this company where we collabed with Disney Imagineering, and we were working on the Stars Hotel throughout COVID. Sadly, that thing closed last year, I believe, and couldn't ever check it out. But there's videos online. It's just super expensive for no reason. It's like a cruise. It's a cruise, but on land in a building. Yeah, cruise on land in a building, and like think about like a warehouse building, and then
Yeah.
they put another building inside or around this building so they can have LED walls for the windows, so it would sell as if you're in space in Star Wars.
What?
So like, you know, you would go to the cockpit and you would be able to see, you know, going into hyperspace or something.
yeah.
Or let's say you land at like at a planet and you're just like orbiting above it or something. That's where then you can see the planet here, and let's say you go to the kitchen or to the cafeteria area, and like theoretically the kitchen is on the same side where you can see the planet. You'll see the planet still. You can go to your bedroom, and if your bedroom has a view to it, you can still see it. There's like asteroids coming by. There is like, you know,
A whole lot
the
for
spaceships.
something that doesn't exist anymore.
Correct. It was really cool. Like on
That's
paper, it
technology.
sounded so cool.
But that's virtual production.
That's
That is
virtual production.
it, you know?
Exactly.
That's like you can work on a project for so long, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Just like that, you know?
Going back to LinkedIn, that's how we met.
Exactly.
That's how we met.
That's how I got
Yeah, let's talk about that.
my two big recent jobs with you guys, and then my other one for the past 3 years.
Yeah, I want to talk about that real quick because LinkedIn is something that I think is underutilized
Yeah.
in many ways, and it's very powerful, very, very important to our media community,
Yeah.
to networking, to job posting,
Yep.
headhunting, people that are looking for talent, because like producer Brian said, that's how we met.
Yep.
So just to kind of give a little context to this, which is crazy, we were working on a virtual production shoot here at the studio. It was the early days of having this studio here in Lucha Media, and transitioning into a virtual production set. So we had everything, and we had our virtual production guy that we were going to work with, and he came in one day, and then he never came back, and we were like, this
For
shit's-
whatever reason, it just didn't work out.
didn't work out.
Yep.
And this was the shoot was like in a couple days, and we were
Yeah.
like, wow,
What are we gonna do?
what are we doing? You know? And this is like, but this is nothing that we can't navigate through. There's always no production ever runs smooth.
Correct.
Nothing ever runs smooth. Doesn't matter what, you could have a producer who has every checkbox done, and then the moment of boom, something happens. So this was no surprise to us. This was the first challenge. It was like 2 days before the shoot, or 1 day before the shoot.
Yeah, it was right
Yeah,
before.
it was
Like the
right
day
before.
before the shoot, and Anthony and I were like, well, let's get on our LinkedIn account here. And I haven't updated my LinkedIn in years, okay? Just because, I don't know, haven't had the need to really get in there and utilize
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm underutilizing it for sure. I need to update my LinkedIn, but I took the gamble. I went in there and I started researching virtual production managers and supervisors. And then for whatever reason, I came across your profile and like 2 other profiles. And you even had on your LinkedIn, you had like your profile picture with the LinkedIn Let's Work or Available
yeah.
to Work
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. It's like a little add-on you could do on LinkedIn, but you had it on there. And I clicked your profile and I just, again, basically reached out to you.
Yeah.
Cold message. And I was pretty straight to the point. Like,
Yeah.
here's what's going on. Here's what I need. Here are the dates of the shoot. You fit the profile. Would love to chat. And you hit me back within like maybe 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
You were because it was early in the morning, so you were probably actively just kind of doing your rounds of whatever you do, and
Yep.
LinkedIn was probably in that mix. And so I'm grateful that you took the gamble
Yeah.
and reached back out to us. We had a phone call. It turned into like, you know, a good, productive phone call, and you were here the next day.
Yeah.
And here we are working in our virtual production studio, and you know, that particular project that we worked on is airing now on Univision, and
Cool.
You know, it's you know, we're having some fun with it. But yeah, man, thank you for taking the gamble and you know,
Yeah.
listening to Lucha Media and our virtual production dreams here of making
Yeah,
it happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
But talking about LinkedIn, it's so important. It's underutilized. I mean, it's very impactful. As an example, you are where you are because of LinkedIn.
Exactly. I don't have a degree to like say, hey, here's my stamp of approval. I have a resume. I don't have a portfolio. Like I can't point to like a website or anything. So that's where I'm like, okay, if I have to care about something, it has to be my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn, if you go right now, it's like the most detailed thing. Every single like work experience has.
Lucha Media's on there?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, baby, we made it.
We made it. We're on Renee's LinkedIn.
on Renee's LinkedIn.
And that's where I'm like, if someone's gonna like take the time to like at least read it, they're gonna see like the detailed amount of work.
Yeah.
Sure, it's similar to the resume, but at least it's somewhere, right? And
And you never know who's looking at it.
Correct.
Because it's just there. It's living there. Headhunters,
Yep.
executives at networks, whatever. Everybody needs somebody at some point.
And
so.
if something behind the doors of whatever corporate office or studio or whatever, they're like, hey, we need Unreal people. And they just do Unreal people in LA, this and this. And then, you know, a bunch of people start popping up. And
Yeah.
how you guys found me is how, funny enough, right after the Imagineering job, that's how I got my other job working with a bunch of, it's actually what got me like into virtual production. It was during COVID 2020. It was just summer 2020. And I was just taking a nap. I was like on the couch
What's your
taking a
VR
nap.
headset on?
with his headset on. he's just like,
Headset on.
I'm in the hallway.
in the Matrix, and and I got a random call, and it was like during the time where I was getting a bunch of robocalls, but it looked legitimate enough, and I was like, let me just pick it up, and luckily I picked it up, and it was a producer. It was like, hey, we're working with YouTube and Demi Lovato, and we're going to be doing a virtual production shoot. We need an Unreal person on set. Actually, later today
Oh, wow.
to start doing stuff, and then you're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I was like, sure.
Yeah.
So I showed up to some random studio in Burbank, and it was a small LED volume. They had like computer set up, and there was an Unreal machine, and they're like, hey, we just need you to just do stuff in Unreal, you know, maybe move some things, change some colors, some really basic stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure. And from there, it propelled to doing Demi Lovato's documentary,
Light
Dancing with the
flex real
Devil.
quick.
Yeah. And then a year later, working with Cartier at the Met Gala, we did a VP photo shoot.
Wow.
During that time period, we were working with Kanye when he wasn't as crazy. So we were doing his like Donda releases. We were getting ready for his concerts and doing things like that. And then over like the past year and a half, it was just doing a bunch of like virtual production, networking, development, like actually figuring out like what it is to lead a studio.
Yeah.
That had a massive wall, that they needed clients, and how do we present ourselves professionally that has all of our ducks in a row, and like how do we like lift this studio off the ground. And then from there it kind of propelled to just working at a bunch of different projects, doing VP, and that's where I'm at now. Like I'm in love with VP.
Yeah.
I love Unreal, I love VP, virtual production, and I just want to keep seeing where this is going to go, because it's the future.
Yeah.
The same way where we have green screen and white screen and blue screen, studios, tarps and stuff. Eventually, hopefully the tech will be there to where you don't need that, and all you need is like a
virtual.
TV, like you could just put a TV behind you and you shoot something above the waist and it's like, boom, you're good.
Yeah.
If you have the extra budget, you can have, you could do like 9 shots in 3 days. You could do 2 shots in 1 day. Like, you don't have to travel to Egypt to shoot an Egyptian scene
It's
or
definitely
snowy
the
mountains.
future.
It's definitely the future. And it's like, I feel like it's the most fun.
So what? So I want to talk about what you're working on right now, because it's really exciting.
Well,
you shared the news
before
with
that,
us.
I wanted to add something.
Go ahead.
Being on LinkedIn, it was dope to see, because we're all about keeping stuff within our community and trying to uplift our community. It was dope to see your name and be like, oh, there's a Latino virtual production supervisor. We need to contact him. That's kind of a big part of it for us, So
Especially because the work that we do is Latino based.
Yeah.
Right. We do a lot of Latino production.
Yeah.
And the name of the company is Lucha Media Studios. It's a Latino company. So, we had calls with other, virtual production guys who weren't Latino, and we have to explain not only the type of work that we're doing, the type of production it was, and the storyline, and just for them to kind of get it. And the difference with you was you right away, it's relatable, you get it. Cool, I'm there tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was seamless. It was easy. So yeah, it was dope to see that. And I think Latinos in this space need to utilize LinkedIn more. And we gotta connect. We gotta build, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
do you find that you're like one of the only ones out there, or do you think there's a community growing in virtual production?
Right now, there's a lot. Forgot his last name, but his name is Carlos. He's, I think, based in Vancouver. Not sure if he's Mexican, but he does a lot of stuff in Mexico. He's trying to lead a lot of like virtual production.
From Vancouver to Mexico?
Yeah, I want to say that he's Mexican, but he lives up in Canada.
Yeah.
And he is helping to lead a virtual production summit that happens in Mexico. And it's just essentially being like virtual production 101. Hey, this is what it is. This is what the tech is. This is how you can use it. This is how you save money, lose money, et cetera, et cetera. And they are building a foundation there. When I was filming in Mexico,
well, let's get to that. Let's get to that. Explain the project, your most recent project. That's coming out November, I think.
November 8th. Yes, November 8th. Cada minuto cuentas.
Cada minuto cuenta.
Every minute counts. It's in Mexico. We were filming in Mexico. It takes place in Mexico. It's covering the massive earthquakes that happened.
In 1985.
Yes, 1985, and
then crazy enough, it happened
same day.
It's the same day
20-something years later, right?
like 2017.
Yeah.
Like something crazy.
I remember when we were there, I was filming during September.
Okay.
Because it happens on September 19th.
Yeah.
We were filming all of September, and on that 19th, we had to do earthquake drills. And as we were outside, I was like, how funny is it that we're doing an earthquake drill at a studio that we're filming about these earthquakes? That is the reason why we're doing these earthquake drills.
Super meta.
Yeah, hella.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was like extremely cool to be out there. Netflix was involved. Amazon was involved. Pixomundo was involved, which is now like a subsidiary of like Sony. And it's not just like people from like the States or in Europe coming over. It's more of like, hey, we have a Netflix office here in Mexico City. We have Amazon offices in Brazil and in Chile, I think, or something, working in Chile.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's just fly people in. Let's just show people what this all is about. And, the people showed up. And I remember on one of the days, I was like, what we would consider like pre-light days, which is like a prep day. You know, like you set up shop, you light it, you color, you tweak the color, you move some things around in virtual space. So then the next day you show up and it's just film.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
And then during those days, we would just have people visiting. They're like, Netflix showed up, Amazon showed up, a bunch of local like movie studios and directors and videographers showed up.
And they showed up to see that it was a volume stage.
That was a volume that,
Yeah.
hey, we're shooting.
Because it's rarely done in Mexico City.
Correct.
I mean, it's now barely becoming
More-
in the norm, I guess, in the States or in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I could imagine in Mexico was probably the
It was
only
the first
studio.
one, first one ever beneath, south of the states.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like Central Mexico, Central and South America was like the first massive volume that was like being used to this
So
level.
you've literally worked on film history there.
Yeah. Like it was pretty cool. Like I remember earlier that year, I went to GDC, which stands for Game Developers Conference, and there was a group, how there's all these like social groups. There's one called Latinx in Gaming, and I was like, I've been with a lot of non-Latino people working with them, and I'm like, I just want to see my kind. I want to see my people, and I show up, and I'm expecting a bunch of gamers, and once they heard like what I do, they're like, oh my gosh, you're using Unreal for this. This is so cool, because around that time, people are just starting to find out like what John Favreau did with Mando and Epic and Unreal, and people were asking me all these questions like how different is it and blah blah blah, and how similar it is to me leaving that conference and being like, wow, like I want to do something for my community. I want to help these people who just we struggle everywhere we go, and like some people just have it easier than others, and it's tough to do something creative and do it sustainably and having fun while you're doing it. And I remember that year I was like, I really want to do something, anything, just let me do something and I'm going to like do it. And funny enough, I get a call from a friend. He's like, hey, I can't do this gig, but I want to recommend you because you were looking for work.
Yeah.
It's a month long, like 6 weeks, but it's in Mexico. And I'm like, ooh, I have never been in Mexico. I don't know. Cartel this, cartel that.
I'm more of a pupusa kind of guy.
And I was like, you know what? Like, screw it. Let me just do it. Let me go have fun. And
You got to take a risk sometimes.
dude, it was so good.
you do.
Mexico was great. Mexico City, like that area was great. Where I was staying was beautiful. It was like the downtown area where it was a lot safer.
It's like Roma or Condesa, Polanco maybe, something.
Condesa.
Condesa, yeah.
Condesa. Yeah. And it was great. And they covered everything, all the food, the stay, transportation. I was able to go sightseeing on the weekends.
Nice.
It was just long hours.
You were there for like a month.
For a full month I was there. We were working Monday through Friday, like typical shoot days, 12 to maybe 14-hour days.
You basically live there.
I lived there, dude. Like,
It's dope.
but it wasn't like, oh, cool, like you get a free trip to Mexico. It was just like, no, like
Work.
it was
You gotta
literally
work.
work Monday through Friday, maybe a Saturday. And if not a Saturday, you're like resting all of Saturday. And then I spend my Sunday catching up, like doing the laundry, like cleaning up the apartment.
That's the nature of the business.
Yeah. And then I
It
just
is,
go
yeah.
back right
Truly
at
is.
it again.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And when was this shoot? When like,
So they
because
shot
it's
it-
airing, because to give people perspective of a
Yes.
production, it's airing this November.
We're in
But you were working on this when?
Last year. So it's airing this November 8th, 2024.
Yeah.
We were filming it, the start of it, in the first week of September 2023.
Okay.
And they shot different scenes. So like think about using like film terms, like different locations. If you're at a location, you try to get all of it knocked out, right? So we had roughly, I want to say like 3 to 4, maybe 5 scenes. And then after that, they shot other scenes in like October. They shot other scenes in November. And I think it went all the way until like mid-December.
Nice.
And then because it was like a lot of Canadians that were working,
8.
they didn't they lined up their schedule to where like the shooting schedule to work around their Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
if any Americans were
Wait, they
working
have a
on it-
different Thanksgiving?
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Well, Thanksgiving to us is Thanksgiving. I think for them is it's essentially Thanksgiving, but it's like I think it's the first week of November.
First week of
Oh no, I
November.
think it's the first Monday of November or something like that. It's like
What?
you know how we do it on Thursday and we give ourselves the whole week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for them is like on a Monday
On a
or
Monday.
something.
Wow. Shout out to
I might be
Canada.
hating.
Shout out to
I might
Canada
be getting
for-
it all wrong, but I know it's like not during the same time. It's like earlier in the month.
No idea.
Yeah.
Any Canadians out there, we need to know.
Yes. Oh, there's the whole reason why this actually all happened. I was told a story by the VFX supervisor. His name is Dieter something.
Okay.
And Dieter, was born and raised in Mexico City. He was able to pay his way to go to school up in Canada for visual effects, did all that stuff in Toronto. Now is actively living there. But I think during COVID, he went back down to Mexico City and he just started to meet people in that community. And he met this director. And the director had this idea for this project. And they already got in touch with Amazon. Amazon was willing to start fronting some money to do this production. And they wanted to keep it like in-house with just doing Mexicans justice and giving you guys more work to do, right? And that's where Dieter convinced them to like, hey, this is your first, like this is not just Mexicans, it's like Hispanics' first time ever doing something this massive in film history. Like you got to do it right. You got to set the standards. You got to do it right. Like, take a hit here and there, but we got to do it right. And that's where they convinced, he was able to convince them to do the project with Sony, or Pixo Sony, to do all the virtual content. And that's where he was the one who connected like all these other dots, using his connections to help his community back home.
Shout out to Dieter.
Yeah, Dieter.
Yeah.
Dieter, you that boy.
Cada minuto cuenta. That's what it's called,
Minuto
right?
Cuenta.
So that's coming out in November, you said?
November 8th. Yes, on Amazon Prime.
Cada Minuto Cuenta on Amazon Prime, November 8th. Story of the earthquakes in
earthquakes,
Mexico City.
yes.
Now, how much of that was shot on volume?
I want to say they still leaned to traditional practices. Like they shot massive green screen and like when buildings are falling on you and things like that. You can't shoot that on a volume. But to my knowledge, like 80-90% maybe. I mean,
virtual production, pretty much like 90%.
to my knowledge, the entire time I was there, if there was like, let's say 25 days that we shot, maybe 23 of them, 22 of them were all on the volume, and the other 3, 2, whatever, were us doing pre-light days while they were filming in like a different sound stage because.
Oh, also this was all soundstage. Nothing was outside.
Correct. All
Wow.
soundstage.
That's crazy.
It was I forgot what movie studio lot it was, but
like
think about like the
Televisa
Warner
or something.
Bros. Or
Yeah, it
think
might have
about
been like the Televisa lot.
no, I think
No?
Churubusco, I think.
Churubusco.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And they had like I think they were renting out 3 different stages. They had the volume stage, they had a green screen stage, and another one where they were just like moving in props and things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I want to say, I mean, there was like 4 or 5 days that they did. They might have done stuff leading up to it. I don't know. But to my knowledge, when I was there for like 35 days, 40 days.
Let me ask you something. So the nature of the business is that oftentimes, especially being like an independent contractor or something, you often have to take work on short notice or take off like for a big production for maybe a month or so or longer. Being Latino, family's super big to us, right?
Yep, family's first.
Have you ever had to miss like an important family event or something just to go to work?
Yeah,
It happens.
it happens. The ones that I mentioned, the CMC, Cada Minuto Cuentas, the Cartier photo shoot, and Demi Lovato were all happening in September, and it just so happens to be my mom's birthday.
Oh, dude.
Oh man, you're telling me your sweet mom who got you into this?
She's
She put you into the business. You haven't been to her birthday in 3 years?
Yeah, it was 2020, 2021. I was there for 2022.
Okay.
And then 2023, I almost missed it. But then I surprised her. I flew back.
Yeah.
Wow.
I flew back on a Saturday morning. We had breakfast Sunday. And then I flew back Sunday night. And then I was like, sorry, Mom. Like, this is all I can do.
I ask because there's a football player, rookie, who I think he's on the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
I think his name's Carson Steele.
Okay.
So basically, Carson Steele played his first NFL game the same day of his sister's wedding.
Jeez.
Damn.
But he missed the game?
No, he missed
the wedding.
He missed the
his
wedding.
sister's
Oh, he
wedding to play the game.
He missed the wedding to play the game.
Hey, work
I
is
mean,
work. Work is work.
I mean,
I'm not picking sides, but the sister kind of has to do her homework. You know, if she's close with her brother.
yeah, you're not going to get married during football season.
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're both living out their dreams. He put in the work to make it
be
to
in
the
the
NFL.
NFL,
He's
yep.
not going to miss that.
Yeah, I think you said it's all love. So
So, yeah, I mean, come on, man.
I love you, Kessler. Hope it went well, but I'm picking this every day of the week. So
Man, so then since we're talking about movies and relevant topics to movies and
Yeah.
relevant news, our boy 50 Cent. He's putting out a. He teamed up with Netflix to put out a series on Diddy.
Yeah.
Man, you gotta love 50, man. Gotta love 50.
I love 50.
I love 50 Cent, man.
Yeah, how much virtual production you think they did on that one?
Oh man,
Dude, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised with like if it was a high
Johnson
number.
Johnson factory for the
Yeah.
oil, the baby oil.
Johnson factory for
Because
they
it's like
recreate the
nowadays you
room?
can't even look at something like almost every single NFL team's
Yeah.
like intro and promos and stuff.
Everything.
That's all done on like you know what, the one where they're like up close in the camera and they're like ripping
Yeah.
it open.
Yeah.
All that stuff is done on the volume.
We're,
They don't
we're
do
gonna
green
we're
screen.
gonna get like a Willy Wonka ass set with baby oil and Diddy popping out.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Damn. I can't wait to see the freak off in virtual
Oh
production.
my god,
Bro, they did
Oh, dear.
the baby.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right, we gotta stop. We're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna you know get flagged on YouTube here.
Oh dear.
But so then I want to talk about something else. So that's very serious and
Yeah.
something just happened to you as well. AI.
Dude.
AI is becoming the bane of our existence, where it's like a double-edged sword.
Yes.
It
it's
can
exactly
help
like
us, but it's also can efficiently do a job that we're not needed for anymore.
Wow.
So you were just explaining to us a story that you were on a job. We're not going to say who the network was or the studio, but there's a price tag to everything.
Yes.
And once you figure out that you can tweak something or get to another point in your production using AI and save a couple $1,000, maybe $100,000, you're going to go with AI. 'Cause there's a bottom line for everything.
Yeah,
So,
I think so,
how do
yeah.
you feel about AI in our space, in our media world, production world, and taking our jobs? They took our jobs.
Oh, they took our jobs.
at first I was on the team of like, man, like why is everyone complaining and crying? Let's just like it's just a tool, you know. It's like we have our filters, we have our crop tool, this tool on Photoshop. Like
It's only going to better us. Yeah.
it's just gonna be better. Like it's gonna make our lives easier. You don't want to do everything manually every time, you know. And it wasn't until this project where I spent maybe like a week and a half, slaving away trying to make content in Unreal, and we show up, like 98% of it worked. There was like one shot that it just collapsed and we couldn't shoot on it, so we had to pivot to video. But like you look at the content, you're like, wow, this is great. And then the next day, scheduling happens and stuff, and they had to pivot and they were shooting another scene that I just didn't have time to make. So they were like, all right, let's just see how like rendering out plates and video would look. And they did that and they posted it and on the wall, and they were like distorting the image, to make it look the perspective that it needed it to be. And long story short, it looked as good. I wouldn't say better. Like you can definitely look at it and you're like, this looks definitely AI. Like if you really
Well,
like,
especially from your production eye, you can tell.
like you can look at it and you're
but
like, this
what
is
they
too
care
shiny.
about, the average viewer,
Correct.
like, they're never going to know.
Yeah, and like the average viewer just always assume that everything is in green screen or like in post, so they're gonna be like, oh, this must be like some type of effect. And long story short, they were pumping out maybe like up in like anything north of like 75 shots that day. 75 to like 90 shots is what I heard, and they were every 5 minutes they were pivoting to another image, and when they needed a break because of the actors or the set dressing, they're like, all right, cool, let's just take these like 10-15 minutes just pump out new images and just airdrop it to the machine, and then we'll just cycle through them when we need to check. And that's what they did, and I give them props. Like they really utilized the space, they really utilized the technology. And after seeing that day, I sat there the whole day and I didn't lift a finger, and I'm like, yep, this is my last day. This is my last day. And
Ghosted.
Lord and behold, like 2 days later, they're like, hey, no hard feelings. You did an amazing job, but we got to let you go. And I was
Damn,
like, hey,
cold-blooded.
fine. And I kept tabs on the production, and it was all done with plates, like 2D images, video. And I think that's where the people are still learning, because if they were able to communicate to me efficiently, like this is what this was their bar that they just needed to hit.
Yeah.
I definitely could have done them a favor and just not convince. Like I didn't convince them; they convinced me to do the Unreal stuff.
Yeah.
But as a good supervisor and consultant, I should be able to tell them like, hey, you're literally spending money to spend money. Like if you want to continue, by all means, I'll take it. But like if
You're too good at your job.
you know, like if you don't want to take your job, like if you don't want to spend that much money and money is tight and everything, like, hey, 2D images are good. We just need to find you a space with some tracking and boom, you're good to go. And here in LA, it's been super dry. So a lot of studios are doing it for extremely cheap and like cheaper than what it should be, to be honest, like at least half of what it should be.
Yeah.
And, you know, like everyone's trying to fight for whatever. And that's where, with how they are shooting their stuff for that television show, they didn't need me. And I think that's where AI is really going to take over in some areas. And if you're not ready for it and putting your ego aside, you just got to like accept the fact. Because I think, Brian, I just sent you something on how the major studio, I think, is it Sundance or Lionsgate? They are 100% colluding, combining, working with Runway AI to just start doing. They're just gonna. They decided that they're just gonna fall into it. They're not gonna fight it. They're not gonna resist it. They're just gonna accept the fact that AI is gonna take over. And this was massive news because now a lot of people are losing their jobs due to this.
Yeah,
to this tool.
I think like we had this conversation earlier when we went to go have lunch. Shout out to Shakey's.
Ooh, you can eat lunch buffet.
But Izzo said something interesting that virtual production is the future.
Correct.
And AI is already taking that.
Yeah, it's a future industry, and it's the AI is taking these future industry jobs.
They haven't even been fulfilled yet.
Yeah, like people don't even know what these roles are, and AI is already taking them.
It's
I think
insane.
Hopefully, I mean, right now I know I forget the studio, but they do League of Legends.
Yes.
I know some of their people are on strike for AI reasons. Same thing happened with SAG-AFTRA for
2023.
actors, and 2023 there was a big strike. So I think obviously creatives are getting wind of that, and there has to be laws in place.
Correct.
To help protect. And it's not just artists, because people think like, oh, these Hollywood elites are like, you know, crying about losing money. It's everyday working people that work in this industry are losing jobs to AI. So there's good and bad to every technology. And I think it's just a matter of, you know, getting the right leadership in there and getting the right laws in place. And it's such new territory. So we'll see where it goes. But I agree, it is a tool that we can all use and advance certain things. But at the same time, we have to tread lightly.
Do you know what's the
Well, when it comes to money, dude, like obviously, as I said, like if there's an opportunity, you're gonna take it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to these what's it called, like Lionsgate, to these companies, these studios, like what they're doing, they have like a log, an archive of so many things that they can input into these AIs so that they can
machine
train.
learning.
Exactly.
correct? It's like they're using their own stuff to fulfill the AI,
Yeah,
so the AI doesn't
exactly.
have to go off and
They have a
steal
well
from
of IP,
innocent artists or anything. Yeah.
So it's like, why not do it? You know?
Correct.
And I think, unfortunately, it's gonna ruin a lot of jobs.
Yeah, the one fun fact that to touch on what you were saying, Brian, like implementing new laws and so they need to implement laws in general.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine.
It's like the Wild West of
it is right now.
virtual
It is
production,
because
AI.
there is no law preventing these AI developers to allow innocent people like us to just go to ChatGPT and like draft up like how to make a bomb or how to do this or how to do that. Like there is no laws against that. It's just themselves policing each other and being like, hey, this is a very dangerous tool.
Yeah.
What are some boundaries do we want to establish?
We're working on the trust system right now, the buddy
Correct.
system.
It's 100% the trust system.
buddy system.
And you know, they came up with some you know, they came up with this sort of test.
Yeah.
Essentially to like, if it passes this test, then you're able to release it to the public. I believe that's how it goes.
Wow.
And right now, that's just them doing it because it's just nerds being nerds and wanting to make AI come to life.
Yeah, there's a name for that test. I'm blanking on it right now. I know what you're
That's
talking
I think the one you're talking about is the one that proves that they are as good as humans.
Yeah.
There's a video game that's out there that like does that, and the whole plot twist is that you are the AI. You think that you are a human trying to break out of this like prison, but it turns out that you are an AI passing this test.
Wow.
Damn.
And
This is
this
getting
whole
real
game
freaky.
proves that like this AI is as good as humans now.
Bro, you must have some wild dreams, bro.
Oh,
Speaking
trippy.
of wild dreams, and also just
Trippy.
to take it back into the creator's hands, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the skibbity toilet thing?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Don't get me started with this.
So basically, it's an internet meme that
Yes.
happened. There's some backstory behind it. But if you haven't seen it, it's a head coming out of a toilet singing a viral song.
Yeah.
And this thing put up numbers. I'm talking like Mr. Beast numbers. I'm talking more like, I think it's like 17 billion views.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Whoa.
doing-
And this is just like a virtual AI creation.
No. It's not AI. It's not AI. This is an actual creator. But to my point is, they got picked up by Michael Bay and his new production company to work on a television series. And what I'm saying is, yeah, AI and all of this stuff is scary, but I think there's still room for creators to take. We still have YouTube and social media and all these platforms that we're, as Lucha Media, just starting to utilize. And there's a lot of room for growth still. So I think even though there's jobs getting taken away, if you're passionate enough about something, even if you're just making, brain rot memes on YouTube, this stuff can lead to somewhere. So just, you never know. Just don't give up and put your stuff out there. If virtual production is your passion, if design is your passion, you could literally create a stupid ass meme and it could get picked up by Michael Bay. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's where the Slenderman came out from the creepypasta.
Yeah.
There's been the new release of, I guess, open public domain for the Disney IPs, and they're making these horror movies.
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah. The Winnie the Pooh one and the Peter Pan one now.
Yeah.
And I think just with these tools coming out, these AI tools, and how everything you could just learn most of whatever you want to learn on the internet. And you could go to ChatGPT and say, create a learning lesson for me to learn this software or whatever, or how do I do this on ChatGPT?
There's definitely tools out there and we can utilize them.
Yeah.
Again, but anyways, we got to wrap this up soon. Any last words, anything you want to promote? Just the floor is your guys' is up there.
I mean, we should definitely, reiterate that Rene's work is going to be on Amazon.
Amazon
Prime, November 8th.
Yep.
Cada Minuto Cuenta. It's a series on Amazon about the tragic earthquakes in Mexico City. So yeah, you worked on that project. Everybody make sure you go support Rene on that show.
Yeah.
Since you were in Mexico City
Yeah.
and you lived there for about a month, I want to ask you, what are your takeaways? You said it was your first time in Mexico City.
First time ever.
A little
Yeah.
skeptical about going. You said at
Correct.
first just because what you've heard, but of course, it's una ciudad muy cabrona. Best tacos in the world, best food,
Dude.
everything. I mean, just the culinary experience in Mexico City is second to none. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So, what are your takeaways?
That's where definitely when I went, I was really hesitant, nervous, skeptical of the whole thing, just because I was like Mexico and you hear all these stories. But once I got there and once I was like actually living there for a month and a half or whatever, it was actually like where I was staying at in Condesa. It was cleaner than downtown LA. It
Yeah,
was safer
for
than
sure.
downtown LA at night. I remember it was like 11 p.m. It was like I think I just landed and they wanted me to meet the boys I was working with, and we went out. There was some Irish pub because that's where the Canadians went. And I walked over. We shared drinks and some food, and then I would just walk back home. And at first, I was like, shoot, I was freaking out. I was like, I can't order an Uber. Nothing is happening. Blah blah. blah. They just met me, and I didn't want to ask. Like I was just too sheepish, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let me just walk home. Let me just speed walk over. And at first I was like, I was speed walking. And then afterwards I was like, yo, like this is actually really nice. I was like, this is
beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful there.
Yeah.
And it was super calm, super quiet, like really peaceful. And then afterwards, throughout it all, it was a great experience, as to some extent, it's just how you would expect like a Hispanic country. And I was comparing it to Nicaragua and El Salvador, to my times when I visited there. And the food, like I can't get over the food. Like it was my first time ever trying costras, which is like tacos with cheese.
Tacos de costra.
Yeah.
So the taco de costra is, there's no tortilla. The tortilla is made out of cheese. So usually it's like Oaxacan cheese. They melt it and it becomes a costra. It becomes like basically the taco shell.
Wait. And if you think you've tried Oaxacan cheese here in the States, you have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
I've tried, there's been these things called like tacos con queso.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
But they still have the
tortilla.
the tortilla.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. And then
Here.
Yeah. But there they get rid of the tortilla, and man, I can't find anything that compares to that.
And you know, if you're on La Dieta, they're keto friendly. So
Exactly.
for if you're losing the panza, you know, they're keto friendly. So the tacos de costra.
Tacos
was
de
your
costra.
jam. ¿Qué más? What else did you kind of get into over
Dude,
there?
the conchas.
Oh
like
yeah.
the cafecitos.
Yeah.
They were so good.
Cafecitos.
Also the street tacos. Like
Yeah.
as we were
Any corner, really.
dude.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with any street taco. Like we were there, we were filming, and you know, we had like a cafeteria set up, you know, everyone went, and then every once in a while to like reward ourselves or whatever, or if we had like a longer lunch, we're like, yo, let's just get out, let's sneak out, let's just go down the street. There's a taco shop. This taco shop was in an ambulance. Like they just like gutted it out and they replaced
I
it.
love that.
Dude, there's an account I follow on Instagram called Mexico Surrealista.
Yeah.
Surrealista, yeah. I'm familiar.
Dude, it's the best. They just show all like Mexico just has so many little quirky, weird things about
Yeah.
it that it's the best.
Yeah, there's like a saying. It's like Mexico mágico, you know.
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely.
it's magical, you know.
Yeah, and
That's
yeah,
cool.
it was
I
in the
love
middle. Like it was like on the corner,
Yeah.
and it was like they gutted out this ambulance. They replaced it with like cooking supplies and all this stuff, and they were just making tacos out of that. And
Yeah.
they always say that it wasn't like they weren't driving it anywhere. It was just stationary. And every once in a while, we went to get tacos there. The food was great. You know, we went sightseeing very, like whatever time we had the chance. We went to go see the pyramids.
Yeah.
We went to go see the zoo there. They had this massive park that
Yeah,
like
Chapultepec.
yes, Chapultepec. Yes, and it like compares in size to the.
Did you see the castle upstairs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the castle, the zoo. I went through the zoo. They have like this nice like lake pond that you can like take these boats on.
It's basically like the Central Park of
Mexico City,
right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
incredible.
It literally gave me like New York vibes.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
Yeah, and it was beautiful, and also crazy enough. I was expecting like humidity and heat, but because Mexico City is like really elevated, just
Yeah, the
comparing
altitude
to this,
change is wild.
Correct.
So
It's
if you're
actually
like
really cold.
if you're out of shape and you're walking somewhere
Yep.
and you're like, why am I sweating? Or why am I tired? It's
Why am
like
I struggling?
bro, that altitude change is
Yeah, I
no
think
joke.
it's like 7,000 feet up. or
wow.
something.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
But, you know, during the production of it all, it was a really cool experience, and something that I take away, and I try to use it as like a learning lesson whenever I work with new people with virtual production. Is that at the end of the day, if you count my experience at Mexico City as like a challenging one, because like 90% of the people have never been on a volume.
Yeah.
First time ever. Actors, crew, the tech people, everyone.
I mean, even here in the States, how many people have been on a volume
Correct.
stage? Not many. you
Right.
know?
And on top of that, like 80% of it were solely Spanish speaking people.
Yeah.
And then the next like 10% were like translators, like, you know, people who spoke both languages. And then the last 10%, the ones that were running the entire tech, were English speaking only. And at that point, how do you run a show when there's like, when the whole crux of it lands on people who are speaking a totally different language than everyone else on the crew? And that's where, because of people being open and willing to like work with one another and see it as like, this is a moment in history and this is something that we can all like be proud of if we walk away and put in our best effort. Everyone was always compliant. Everyone was always willing to listen to the other person. Being told that they're wrong, being told that the way that they're doing something is different, or, you know, camera people, like the ones who hold the camera, like we didn't bash heads with them, but we were the ones that had the most friction with them because we had wires that was going to the camera, like extra wires that they're not used to. We have like a camera that was like on
with
the
tracking system.
the tracking system that was on the camera, which was then being tracked by other outside cameras going in.
It's new. It's a new process for everybody.
And we're like, you know, they're doing something, you know, they think, oh, let me just move this cable.
Nope.
And like, or like, oh, let me like shoulder it or something. And like, it just like janks up our system and things
or
are
you gotta
looking
recalibrate
weird.
the cameras
Correct.
or whatever. It's a whole nightmare.
And you know, it was no problem. It was just us like we bashed heads with them in the sense of, hey, you guys like touched the cable, you didn't let us know, we have to go recal. And then we would spend like 5-10 minutes like resetting.
Yeah.
And
what a nightmare.
You know, the director and the DP, they would want to do an angle, but they were like outside of the zone where the tracking was happening. And
they don't get that. They're like, well, why can't you? And
correct.
It's a whole thing. Sorry. No.
But then
stay within the boundaries.
That's
here.
where in Hollywood, like the Hollywood side of things, everyone is, they give the Hollywood attitude of like, well, like, I'm paying you to get this done, so get it done. Like, I don't care what you have to do, just get it done. You have 5 minutes.
This is my vision. This is what I want.
Correct. And it's like you have 5 minutes when the whole thing takes probably like 50 minutes, you know?
just the calibrating. Oh
Correct.
My goodness.
But there,
Gosh.
you know, there was some pushback because they are creatives. But other than that, they're like, how much time do you need? Oh, 20 minutes? Okay, I'm gonna go get a taco. And like the director would just like walk off set and just go get a taco.
Smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, and then he would come back and he's like eating his taco and he's like, you guys good? And we're like, yeah, we're good. He's like, all right, vámonos. So like, I swear, like if I could shoot more in Mexico City, I definitely would.
Mexico.
Yeah, like the
Mexico,
vibe there is
Mexico.
totally different than shooting here. in
This has
Hollywood.
just become a giant ad for
giant ad for, hey, film your stuff in Mexico.
We're taking Lucha Media Studios to Mexico City. Who's coming?
We're bringing Rene with us.
Bring Rene. Vámonos. It'll be easy for us because our family's over there. So, you know.
Alrighty,
We'll
well,
pick up easy. I think we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, we're going to do something. We got a little treat for you.
Okay.
We did this with a couple of our guests, so we're going to keep it going since we're talking about
Keep the
technology
tradition.
and
Yep.
AI. So we tapped into ChatGPT.
Oh dear, I know what this is.
And we asked our friend ChatGPT if they can roast our good friend Rene. So just to give you some context how it works, we take a couple screenshots of your Instagram profile.
Okay.
We write a little blurb about what you do, who you are,
Okay.
and then we upload it to ChatGPT, and then it spits out a roast. So this is
go.
I had nothing to do with this. I just got the roast here.
You're
so
just a messenger.
I'm just the messenger. So here we go. This is the roast of Rene. All right. According to ChatGPT.
According
here
to
we go.
Chat.
Oh, Rene, the LinkedIn superhero, swooping in to save the day with his green screen magic and VP operator title, like he's about to launch the next Marvel movie. But we all know he's just trying to impress his dog.
Oh dear. Shout out to Hero.
If you follow him on Instagram, you get that. Young, successful, and nerdy. This guy probably has more action figures than business cards, yet somehow manages to convince everyone he's grown up with his I work in virtual production line. His biggest accomplishment, finding a girlfriend who tolerates his obsession with tech and introducing everyone to industry contacts like he's handing out golden tickets to Willy Wonka's factory. I believe that. Quite the name dropper. I believe that. I believe that.
Oh yeah.
Keep shining, Rene, but don't trip over that big heart of yours. Oh, that's pretty good. That was cool.
Not bad.
That was good. That was good. I
love it.
All right. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shit, man. Thank you, Rene. We appreciate you for stopping by. We're gonna do more of these. He's Lucha Media family. You know, very vital to our business here.
This was an educational one.
Oh yeah.
Little introduction into the virtual production world for some people who aren't familiar with that, and showing our gente that we out here, we in the business.
Yeah.
We're making things happen. So make sure to check out the show that Rene worked on. That's virtual production. It's called Cada Minuto Cuenta. It's on Amazon Prime, November 8th.
Yep.
So when you see those shots of Mexico City, most of it was done in virtual production with our guy Rene here. So congratulations to him. Thank you for stopping by Lucha Media Studios.
Yeah, and
We'll
one
see you
last
guys,
thing. Don't
what
forget
else?
to subscribe, like us on wherever you listen to. We got to keep you
Subscribe or
reiterating
die.
that.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like.
Yee.
All right.
Let's go. And tell a friend. Nos vemos.
200 mph.